Without mentioning anything, nature's music can say everything. With this beautiful thought, welcome all my dear friends. Let us continue our journey in the world of IPR by picking a specific section of the Patents Act 1970 as amended by Amendment Act 2005. Okay, so we know that nature don't have to mention anything, and its music can express everything. Okay, but we are dealing with legal world, and here we need proof, documents, statements for everything. Okay, so this is just a comparison, that just a correlation by taking care of the literal meaning of mentioning, nothing else. Okay, so let us proceed. Now, again, an old slide from the first lecture. Okay, so let us refresh our memory. Here, the form is form number 8, whose title is Request or Claim Regarding Mention of Inventor as Such in a Patent. Okay, the relevant section is section 28, with its subsections such as 28 subsection 2, section 28 subsection 3 and section 28 subsection 7. Okay, and as a whole section 28 is mentioned here, that is mention of inventor as such in patent. Fine. And the relevant rules are Rule 66, Rule 67 and Rule 68. Okay, so what is Rule 66? The title is Form of Making a Request under Section 28 subsection 2. Okay, and rule number 67 is Form of Making a Claim under Section 28 subsection 3. Similarly, Rule 68 is form of application to be made under Section 28, subsection 7. The section today we have taken is section number 28, and the title is Mention of Inventor as Such in Patent, and this comes from chapter 5, that is Opposition Proceedings to Grant of Patents. Okay, so now you can very well correlate the beautiful thought that was said in the first slide with the title of this section. Okay. Okay, so let us proceed. Now, as I always do, I have picked up the keywords from the respective subsections of section 28. Okay, so the keyword or key phrases that can very well help you in recalling the gist of the subsections of a particular section. Okay, so here the key phrase of subsection 1 is inventor of an invention. Okay, for subsection 2 this is prescribed manner by the applicant. Okay, that means this can be in a prescribed manner by the applicant. Fine. Next one is any person. This is for subsection 3. For subsection 4, this is before the grant of patent. For subsection 5, actually the subsection 5 is omitted, so we don't have to remember anything for it. Fine. Next one. For subsection 6, this is notice of the claim, and for subsection 7, this is a certificate. I'm again telling that these keywords are totally taken as per my perspective, as per my perception. Okay, you can try your intellect to pick up the respective keywords. Okay, so try to just remember the keywords of the subsections so that you can very well get the essence of the subsections of a particular section. Fine. Subsection 1. Subsection 1 says, if the controller is satisfied upon a request or claim made in accordance with the provisions of this section, then clause A, that the person in respect of or by whom the request or claim is made is the inventor of an invention in respect of which application for a patent has been made or of a substantial part of that invention. And clause B, that the application for the patent is a direct consequence of his being the inventor. The controller shall, subject to the provisions of this section, cause him to be mentioned as inventor in any patent granted in pursuance of the application in the complete specification and in the register of patents, provided that the mention of any person as inventor under this section shall not confer or derogate from any rights under the patent. Okay, so now we will try to analyze the particular subsection. Okay, what is written here? If the controller is satisfied. Okay, that means when a request or a claim is made as per this section, then and if that time the controller is satisfied, then what happens? We will study or we will analyze in clauses A and B. Fine. So clause A says that the person in respect of or by whom the request or claim is made. That means the person by whom the request or claim is made is the inventor of an invention itself. Okay. In respect of which application for a patent has been made or a substantial part of that invention. That means either the whole invention or a substantial part of that invention, both are included. Fine. That means either or condition. Fine. Next, and that means clause A and clause B both are mandatory. So always try to observe the operators. Okay. So here the operator is and, that means A and B both are compulsory. Fine. Let us see what does clause B says. Okay. That the application for the patent is a direct consequence of his being the inventor. That means the application is a direct consequence. Okay. The controller shall subject to the provisions of this section, that means as per the section, cause him to be mentioned as inventor. Okay. In any patent granted, that means in a granted patent, that person can be mentioned as an inventor in pursuance of the application in the complete specification as well as in the register of the patents. Okay, and there is a criteria as well. What is the criteria? Provided that the mention of any person as inventor under this section shall not confer or derogate from any rights under the patent. Okay, that means that person shall not confer or derogate from any rights under the patent. That condition should be satisfied. Okay, and here are the relevant rules. Okay, so just go through them. Rule 55A, that is filing of notice of opposition. Rule 57, filing of written statement of opposition and evidence. Rule 58, filing of reply statement and evidence. Rule 59, filing of reply statement by opponent. Rule 60, further evidence to be left with the leave of the controller. Rule 61, copies of documents to be supplied. Rule 62, hearing. Rule 63, determination of cost. Rule 69, procedure for the hearing of claim or an application under section 28, and rule 70 is mention of inventor. Okay, so if you want, you can always go to the details of this rules as well. Fine, I hope this is clear now. Fine. Subsection 2 says a request that any person shall be mentioned as aforesaid may be made in the prescribed manner by the applicant for the patent or where the person alleged to be the inventor is not the applicant or one of the applicants by the applicant and that person. Okay, so just take a look on the keywords. That means the primary keyword is in the prescribed manner by the applicant and the secondary keywords are request by the applicant and that person. Okay, So, and the relevant rule is rule number 66, that is form of making a request under section 28 subsection 2, and form number 8 is request or claim regarding mention of inventor as such in a patent. Now let us analyze the subsection 2. Okay, a request that any person shall be mentioned as aforesaid may be made in the prescribed manner by the applicant. That means a request is made in the prescribed manner by the applicant for the patent, okay, or by the applicant and that person, okay. So you can just read like this: a request that any person shall be mentioned as aforesaid may be made in the prescribed manner by the applicant. That means the request will be made in the prescribed manner by the applicant for the patent, or that means either or condition, or by the applicant and that person also. That means here just observe this within the brackets, where the person alleged to be the inventor is not the applicant or one of the applicants. That means the person who is mentioned as an inventor and he is not included in the applicant or the one of the applicants. Okay, at that case we can do the same thing by the applicant and that person. Fine. So just you can do like this. Don't read the statement written inside the bracket and try to read the statement again. Okay, let me read it. A request that any person shall be mentioned as aforesaid may be made in the prescribed manner by the applicant for the patent. Okay, that means the applicant request here for that person to be mentioned as an inventor, okay, or by that applicant and that person as well. That means it can be done either by the applicant or by the applicant and that person jointly. Fine. I think now it is crystal clear. Okay. So we can proceed. Subsection 3 says, if any person other than a person in respect of whom a request in relation to the application in question has been made under subsection 2 desires to be mentioned as aforesaid, he may make a claim in the prescribed manner in that behalf. Just we can say this is a continuation of subsection 2. So just read it again. If any person other than a person in respect of whom a request in relation to the application in question has been made as per subsection 2. That means a person other than that person of subsection 2 desires to be mentioned as aforesaid, like that, likewise, then he may make a claim in the prescribed manner in that behalf. Okay. So the relevant section is the relevant rule is rule number 67, that is form of making a claim under section 28 subsection 3, and form 8, that is request or claim regarding mention of inventor as such in a patent. Fine. So we can proceed to the next subsection. Subsection 4 says, a request or claim under the foregoing provisions of this section shall be made before the grant of patent. Okay, that means a request or claim shall be made before the grant of the patent only, not after that. Fine, and this is as per the provisions of this section. Okay, and this is substituted by Patents Amendment Act 2005. Just remember it. Fine, let us proceed. Subsection 5, it is omitted by the Patents Amendment Act 2005, so it is not existing now. Let us proceed. Subsection 6 says, where a claim is made under subsection 3, the controller shall give notice of the claim to every applicant for the patent. not being the claimant, and to any other person whom the controller may consider to be interested. And before deciding upon any request or claim made under subsection 2 or subsection 3, the controller shall, if required, hear the person in respect of or by whom the request or claim is made, and in the case of a claim under subsection 3, any person to whom notice of the claim has been given as aforesaid. Okay, so here the keyword is gives notice of the claim. Okay, that means uh, we know that a claim is made under subsection 3 of this particular section. Okay, so in that case, the controller shall give notice of the claim to every applicant for the patent and to any other person whom the controller may consider to be interested. Fine. And before we can just underline this operator. Yeah. And before deciding upon any request or claim made under subsection 2 or subsection 3, that means before uh, giving any decision, okay, as per the request or claim made by subsection under subsection 2 and or 3, the controller shall, if required, then hear the person in respect of or by whom the request or claim is made. Clear? And this operator is also important. And in the case of a claim under subsection 3, any person to whom notice of the claim has been given is aforesaid. Okay. And in the case of a claim under subsection 3, any person to whom notice of the claim has been given is aforesaid. Fine. So here the whole subsection is substituted by Patents Amendment Act 2005. Right? Just remember this. Okay. So, and here the most awaited subsection, that is the last subsection of this particular section 28, this is, and that is subsection 7. Okay, where any person has been mentioned as inventor in pursuance of this section, any other person who alleges that he ought not to have been so mentioned may at any time apply to the controller for a certificate to that effect, and the controller may, after hearing if required any person whom he may consider to be interested, issue such a certificate, and if he does so, he shall rectify the specification and the register accordingly. Okay. So just observe the keywords: a certificate, this is the primary keyword, and any person mentioned as inventor, rectify the specification and the register, these are the secondary keywords. Okay, so let us read it again. Where any person has been mentioned as inventor in pursuance of this section, that means a person who is mentioned as an inventor as per this section. Okay, any other person who alleges that he ought not to have been so mentioned may ought not to have been so mentioned. Remember this. May at any time apply to the controller for a certificate to that effect, and the controller, after hearing, if he thinks so, that means this is possible, if required, any person whom he may consider to be interested issue a certificate. And if he does so, that means if he issues such a certificate, he shall rectify the specification and the register accordingly. Okay, that means the rectification of the specification and the register is also done. Okay, and the relevant rule is rule number 68, that is form of application to be made under section 28 subsection 7, and form number 8 is request or claim regarding mention of inventor as such in a patent. So this way friends, subsection 7 is also completed. So all the 7 subsections of section 28 are completed now. So please go through all the slides and please go through the barrect as well. The reference is the Patents Act 1970 as amended by Amendment Act 2005. Well friends, I feel you must have liked it. So please put down your queries, your compliments and comments in the comment box. And please like, share and subscribe the channel. Thank you so much for listening to me, and thank you so much for watching my video. Stay safe, stay blessed. God bless you. Thank you all. Jai Hind.